Resident Evil Requiem isn't just a rumor anymore. It's real. It's coming out in a few weeks, and the stuff they just showed at Taipei Game Show, it looks wild. Like, Capcom isn't just slapping better graphics on the same zombie shooting formula we've seen 100 times. They're actually trying to do something different here. So, producer Masato Kumazawa showed off a bunch of gameplay, and honestly, it seems like they're trying to shake up survival horror in a real way. We got new info on how the zombies work now, what Grace and Leon can actually do, and this is kinda crazy, no Ada Wong or Chris Redfield. Like, at all apparently. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Let me run through what you need to know before this thing drops on February 27th. Alright, so the developers are literally calling this thing next level when it comes to enemy design. And honestly, from what they showed, I kinda believe them. Smash that like button if you're ready to watch Leon Kennedy go through absolute hell one more time. So look, a few months back when all those leaks dropped, I think a lot of us were like, okay, cool, another action-heavy game like Village. But now that we're hearing directly from Kumazawa and actually seeing footage, nah, this is different. They're going way more psychological with it, and the mechanics look dense. And here's the big thing. It's not just the title Requiem that's got people talking, it's the zombies. Like, think about it. For years, zombies in Resident Evil have been pretty basic, right? They moan, they shuffle around, they try to bite you. You shoot them, they go down, you move on. Just obstacles. But in Requiem, the devs said that's not cutting it anymore. These zombies aren't just mindless corpses now. They actually remember stuff, like habits and memories from when they were alive. That alone says a lot about how this world is structured. You aren't just walking into a room to clear it of enemies. You might walk into a hallway and see a zombie sweeping the floor, trapped in a loop of its former life as a caretaker. You might enter a kitchen and see a chef's zombie trying to cook, ignoring you completely until you invade its personal space. That design philosophy shifts the tone from pure adrenaline to something deeply unsettling. It adds a layer of tragedy to the threats. These were people. They had jobs, they had lives, and watching them pantomime those lives while rotting away creates a hesitation in the player that simple jump scares can't match. And the environment isn't just for show either. These behaviors interact with the combat. A chef zombie isn't just going to bite you, he's going to throw a claver at you. A gardener is going to come at you with shears. This forces you to assess every single enemy individually. You can't just aim for the head and autopilot your way through the game. You have to look at what they are doing, what they are holding, and how they are reacting to the world around them. The producer explicitly mentioned that players can use these behaviors to their advantage. If a zombie is distracted by its job, you might be able to sneak past it entirely. It turns every encounter into a potential puzzle, rather than a mandatory shootout. What's even more impressive is how the combat systems are built to support this new level of interactivity. We now have confirmation of a friendly fire mechanic involving enemy weapons. If a zombie drops a chainsaw, Leon isn't just going to look at it, he can pick it up. He can use it, but even better, you can trick enemies into taking each other out. Kiting a chainsaw-wielding enemy into a crowd of standard zombies isn't just a funny moment, it's a valid strategy. It's emergent gameplay that rewards you for paying attention to positioning and enemy types. It feels like an evolution of the parry and melee systems from the RE4 remake, but with a much broader set of tools. Speaking of tools, the new character, Grace Ashcroft, introduces a mechanic that sounds incredibly risky, but potentially very rewarding. We learned that Grace has a unique crafting system that relies on zombie blood. To craft specific items, she has to harvest fluids from defeated enemies. This creates a constant push and pull in the gameplay loop. You want to keep your distance to stay safe, but the game is mechanically incentivizing you to get close, to engage, and to linger near the bodies of the things that want to kill you. It's a resource management layer that forces you to make dangerous choices constantly. Do you run and save your health, or do you stay and harvest the resources you need for the next fight? And then there's the title itself, Requiem. It's not just a cool word the marketing team picked out of a hat, it's an item in the game. Kumasawa revealed that Requiem is the name of a massive assault revolver that Leon gives to Grace. It doesn't have much ammo, but it's key to her survival. That weapon is heavy with symbolism. A requiem is a mass for the dead. It's an end. Seeing Leon hand a weapon with that name to a younger character feels like a deliberate message to the audience. It hints at a passing of the torch. It suggests that this might be the end of the road for Leon as a main protagonist. That narrative weight is backed up by some very specific recommendations from the developers regarding the lore. Masato Kumasawa didn't mince words here. He
He explicitly told players to go back and play the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes before jumping into Requiem. He said the foreshadowing is buried there. That tells you that this story isn't just a standalone adventure, it's deeply tying back to the G-Virus, the Nemesis Project, and the Raccoon City incident. If you're a longtime fan, the payoff is likely going to be huge, but if you have let those details fade from memory, you might miss the emotional core of what they're trying to do here. The fact that they're pointing to the remakes and not just the original games suggests that the specific narrative threads added in those recent titles are the ones that matter. It makes the universe feel more cohesive. It suggests that the last few years of remakes weren't just cash grabs, they were setting the stage for this finale. Of course, with a game this big, there are always going to be details that divide the fanbase. The biggest one right now is the cast list. Dusk Golem, a reliable insider, has shut down the rumors about Ada Wong and Chris Redfield. They are not in the game. For a lot of people, Leon and Ada are a package. You don't usually get one without the other. But removing her forces Leon to stand on his own. It strips away the familiar banter and the safety net of having that super spy backup. It focuses the narrative entirely on the relationship between Leon and Grace. It might feel emptier to some, but it also feels more intimate. It cuts the clutter. This streamlined approach extends to the marketing as well. Capcom has been incredibly secretive about Requiem, far more so than with Village or RE7. With Village, we knew about the lords, the map, and the enemy types months in advance. Here, we're weeks away from launch and we still haven't seen most of the enemy roster. We don't know the full scope of the map. We really don't know what the main threat is. Some might call that worrying, but it actually feels like a confidence flex. They know the game is good. They don't need to spoil the best moments in a trailer to get you to buy it. They want you to experience the horror fresh. And honestly, that secrecy is exactly what this genre needs. Horror dies when you know exactly what's around the corner. By holding back the details on boss designs and story twists, Capcom is preserving that sense of dread. One of the most intriguing and slightly gossip-heavy details to come out of the panel was about Leon's personal life. The producer teased that the game would finally address Leon's relationship status. Is he single? Is he married? It sounds like a small thing, but for a character who's been fighting bioweapons for 30 years, knowing if he ever found a moment of peace matters. It grounds the action hero in something human. It raises the stakes. If he has something to lose, or if he has truly lost everything, that changes how we view his struggle. So why should players be cautiously excited? Because Resident Evil Requiem doesn't look like it's resting on the success of the recent remakes. It looks like it's trying to marry the action-heavy spectacle of RE4 with the slow burn atmospheric tension of the early games. It's taking risks with zombie AI. It's taking risks with the cast. It's building a combat loop that requires more brain power than just point and click. The consensus based on these new details suggests that this isn't just a sequel, it's a conclusion. The mechanics, the lore connections, the title of the weapon, everything points to a final chapter for this era of the franchise. That combination of nostalgia, mechanical depth, and narrative finality is exactly what makes games like this feel special. Requiem hasn't shown its full hand yet, and that is intentional. But what it has shown suggests it's aiming for something much larger than just another zombie outbreak. It's shaping up to be the definitive Resident Evil experience for this generation, and not just because of how good it looks, but because of what it's trying to say about the characters we have spent decades with. We are entering the final stretch before release. If you have been waiting for a reason to revisit Raccoon City's legacy, this is it. The wait is almost over.